Sure. Let me know if you can see it properly. It's going. Yeah, let me try removing the background. Let me know if you can see it. Let me try. Wait, let me remove the blur as well. Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Hey, I'm good, I'm good. How are you, sir? Sure. So, hi, my name is Krishnanandan Dwivedi, and I'm currently working as an assistant manager in Genpact, India, where I'm leading a team of supply chain specialists who are responsible for all the customer raised tickets related to supply chain and order management issues. There I've been working from last 2 years now. Before Genpact, I have also worked as a team lead in BioWorld Merchandising, where I was leading a team of account specialists who were responsible for end-to-end order management process and cross-functionally, coordinating with the internal and external stakeholders. So there as well, I worked for 2.5 years. Before that, I have also worked as supplies and executive in Yingtong Electronic Technology India Private Limited, where I was mainly working on the procure to pay cycle, like working with the vendors and suppliers, handling the daily, purchase order and rec and RFQs, etc. So there as well, I worked for 2.5 years. So overall, I have around 6+ years of experience in supply chain management module, with a good exposure of O2C and P2P cycles. So coming to my academic background, I have done MBA in IT from Narsi Monjee Institute of Management Studies, and I have also done BTech in Mechanical Engineering from Abdul Kalam Technical University. So this combination of MBA and BTech gives me, good exposure and an understanding of the business process as well as system oriented mindset. So now coming to my courses and certifications, I have done multiple courses in supply chain management as well as AI courses like agentic AI and generative AI. And now, from D365 functional consultant role perspective, I have around 2.5 years of experience as an end user while I was working in BioWorld. And from last 1.5 years, I have been, upskilling and doing hands-on practice for all the supply chain modules like procurement and sourcing, sales and marketing, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and inventory management. Uh, Now you can hear me? Yeah, so I've been, doing hands-on practicing the supply chain modules like procurement and sourcing, sales and marketing, and accounts payable, accounts receivable, and PIM or inventory management, along with basics of legal entity and ledger, general ledger. Now, if you ask for implementation experience, I do not have end-to-end implementation experience independently, but I do have basic knowledge of what are the methodology and process related to the implementation part. So if given the chance, I could be a great help. So this was an overall overview of my work experience, my academic background, along with my certifications and D365 hands-on. So considering this, all, I believe I could be a good fit if given the chance for this role. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. I, I was the end user, complete end user. I was doing all the transactions like creating the PO and RFQ and Rex and all. So me and my team were closely working with the system only uh, for all these process on daily basis, like for whole process. Yeah. All right, so I will just brief you the basic process that we used to follow first, and then we will discuss further. First thing, we used to get our internal requirements from our material department. Based on that, we used to enter the recs, in our D365, and once we create the rec in our system, then we used to follow the workflow approval process, where it used to go to our general manager for the approval, and once the general manager approves the rec, then we used to issue the purchase order to the vendor. In our case, luckily we had only few vendors which all were dedicated to the process, so we were not used to follow the RFQ process, but we based on the rec we used to create the purchase order to the those particular vendors, and then when the shipments used to deliver to our warehouse, then we used to follow the further process like product receipt and all. So, if you ask for any challenge or implementation purpose, I could recall one thing that uh, one thing we did ask, our support partners who were supporting us on D365, that in our we used to we were looking for a solution where we can attach some documents to the purchase order, while like for example if the vendor is sharing us the purchase order copies, okay, and or if they are sharing any documents related to the purchase orders, then we were looking for a solution from them to get these documents attached to the purchase order for our internal records. And for that they did their part. They went they conducted the workshops and all, and they got our all the details, and then they get back to their team and worked throughout the process. So this is one thing that happened in front of me only, so I can recall that. Rest on daily basis, we used to have basic, problems related to the vendor. System related problems we could face, like workflow, being hold for a long time or not getting approved on time. Sometimes workflow might get, do not work as expected. It might get to someone else. So these were the basic problems that we faced throughout the, years. So yeah. So for PO amendments, like first hand, I created the PO and submitted it to the workflow, okay, and it got approved. Now, since I have a correction to made or amendment to made in the purchase order, I will I can do the correction, but I would have to resubmit it for the approval again post correction, right? So D365 do allow us to do the correction, but the purchase order has to go to the workflow again for approval. Like we will confirm the purchase order, and then we will, after approval, we will proceed further for the process. Yeah. Did I get your question right? Because this is what I understood you were asking. Okay. And we straight away went to the confirmation, because for us we had few dedicated vendors for particular items, so we did not have to inquiry anything with them. We can just directly raise the PO to them. So for us, we see we do have our system. We did had our manual reports as well, where we knew we had the record that which vendor is specified for which items. For example, I would say for T-shirts. Uh, at that time when I was working in BioWorld, we had like T-shirt and garments and merchandising products. So for T-shirt, we have one vendor in China, which in our record is mentioned that this is for the T-shirt only. In D365, we can uh, while creating that T-shirt in our product master, and while setting up the product in product information management, we can assign that vendor to the master record, that okay, this vendor will be authorized for this product. So like this we can also set up it in the system that whenever this item will be issued or used for the transaction, then this vendor will should be used. So we had our manual records as well as we have this system in product master. I believe the system do uh, give us error note where the vendor they the system do mention that this is not the a specified vendor for this product. Whenever we create one not approved or authorized vendor error note, that whenever we create a PO with the wrong vendor, if there is any specific vendor assigned to that product in our product master. Yeah. So based on the error note, we can go and do the correction that okay, this is the error, and we can correct it accordingly. Mhm. Let me understand the question. You are saying that the maximum limit is 10,000. Okay, and we want to place purchase order based on. So we are limiting the quantity, quantity is not. Uh, we're not using this function, but let me think if there is any option of doing it. One thing we can do, we can set up a trade agreement where we can uh, mention the quantity, and you know we can give the range of quantity and price. I believe in this function we can use in this scenario. Other option, I don't recall at the moment if there is any option to limit the quantity. But one thing this I can think of that we can set up a trade agreement according to this situation. Yeah. So let me see. I know the lead time, the process, how lead time works. In our organization, what happens that whenever we are issuing any purchase order to, mainly our vendors are from China. So whenever we are issuing a purchase order to China vendor, then we used to consider, the delivery date, requested delivery date. We used to consider after 90 days whenever we issue the purchase order to them, because my organization used to ship the goods from China to US market, so it was a 90 days transit time. So 30 days transit time, and rest were production time. So in total we used to consider 90 days as a lead time at that point. And and This lead time we used to consider whenever we were issuing a purchase order to the vendor. We used to, mark the delivery date or requested delivery date based on that lead time only. But if you are asking for considering it automatically in the system, uh, I don't recall that option, that whether we can set up a automated lead time calculation or not. But we can like manually add it to the requested delivery date. Yeah. Uh, we used to follow advanced warehousing, but I was not working on that part because I was mainly handling the procurement and sourcing and some of the sales and marketing part. Yeah. No, n- no. We had our dedicated department for that. You know, sourcing and planning department. They used to do the strategy and all planning thing. My part was mainly related to getting the order from the customer, then getting it produced in the China, and after production we used to ship it from China to US, and from US our internal warehouse to customer warehouse. So I was mainly working on the process related to this track. Yeah. So during the COVID period, in second wave of COVID, we faced this situation where all the shipments from China to US were halted. Okay, so we were not able to ship anything from our vendor side to our warehouse. So at the time, whatever the customer requested us to ship to their warehouse based on their demand, we used to source it locally in US. Whatever we had in our multiple warehouses available in US only, and we consolidated all these shipments from different warehouses to a single warehouse, and then made a single shipment to the customer. So this is one thing we did at that point. Uh, for that, we used this process where we had to rework on the shipment. Like these available units were not particularly for that customer only. It has to be reworked and relabeled, for this customer which was asking for it. So we went for the rework process where the manpower did the relabeling and repacking thing, and then after relabeling and everything, we made one single consolidated shipment to the customer. So this is one thing we faced during the COVID period, when the lockdown was not allowing us to import anything from China. So, and regarding the delays, it was properly already mentioned to the customer that this was the reason, the COVID and the supply chain disruption was the major reason why we were unable to fulfill their shipment or their requirement. But parallelly, we did our part, our best, that we can arrange somehow from our internal warehouses to get the rework done and ship it to the customer. So at the end, the customer got what they wanted, and we did our part of working and selling whatever we could at that time, managing both customer as well as our responsibilities. So for the delay part, like in the system wise, we used to we have our RDDs and delivery dates, and based on that we used to ask the customer to provide extension. Whenever we are reaching out for extension of the RDD, we used to go with them with all kind of reasons why we are asking this revision in the delivery date. And there we used to mention all the reasons, like what happened and why we are requesting, and till when we will be able to deliver these goods. And when we get the approval, then we used to go and revise the RDD in our system. So yeah, this is how we used to manage at that time. Yes, yes. Uh, not particular to D365. It's more like end to end of supply chain, like getting the product prepared and shipped to the customer, and even after delivery, if they are facing any kind of issue post delivery, that is also we are handling at that time, like giving them a replacement or credit or getting the product, you know, uh, returned back to our warehouse or getting them whatever solution they are expecting, like solving their problem. Yeah. Yeah, I'm planning for MB330 certification mainly. I've been, doing all the online courses and everything for this particular certification. For now, I have covered mainly the supply chain modules. Yet to cover the advanced warehousing and production and master planning module. These three still to complete. And I believe by the end of this month, I will complete that, and then I will be applying for certification. Yeah. So. Uh, First thing which I bring, the strong part which I bring is, working with internal and external stakeholders. I've been doing this from last 5 years now. I've been cross-functionally coordinating whole project throughout my last company as well as this company. So while you are working in an implementation phase, I believe conducting the workshop with the customer or getting the requirement from the customer plays a greater part. So I'm good at that point when I can reach out to the customer and discuss their and listen their problems, and prepare a BRD or something, that what are the issues and how we can work throughout work on it. Secondly, this is the first thing that I can bring. Secondly, I do have basic knowledge of the process flow, how uh, this implementation will work, what will be the steps that we have to follow, like step by step, what will be the next action required from my end. So this understanding I could bring on the table. Third thing I can bring is, a good exposure to whole supply chain domain. I've been working in supply chain from last 6+ years now, so I have a good understanding of whole P2P, O2C, customer relations, and how to manage vendor and supplier. Everything I know end to end. So that expertise could play a good part in implementation, in understanding what are the requirements and how to conduct, how to resolve those requirements. uh, Also, I can, working from as an end user perspective, I can bring a good knowledge on the tool side as well. So whenever we are doing a fit check or fit gap analysis, we can I can use that part or that expertise as well, to how the end user would be thinking and what will be the actual requirement that they will be looking for, and how we can check whether we can satisfy it with the standard system capabilities, or whether we need any customization for that. So yeah, these few things I can bring on the table, and I believe this plays a major part whenever you are working in implementation. Even though I do not have the experience, given the chance, I can use these skills in my benefit, and give a good result, a good outcome. Yeah. Hmm. So for the configuration part, like I said, from last 1.5 years, I have been doing hands-on on the tool uh, with the functional consultant's perspective, like how we will be configuring the purchase order for, like, if I talk about accounts payable, how we'll be, enrolling new vendors, how we'll be enrolling the vendor posting profiles, or how we will be working on the various parts of the AP. I have been practicing that as well. Sorry, my electricity is gone. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, sorry. I think the electricity is gone. Can you hear me? You can see me as well, right? I have this table lamp with me for my backup. So so I was talking about the configuration part. So from last 1.5 years, I have been, practicing hands-on on these supply chain modules on daily basis. That how to configure customer, requirements on those. On those modules, like for AP, I have been practicing related to the vendor and posting profiles and all. For AR part, I have been practicing how to uh, set up new customer or new posting profile for the customer, or trade agreements for both procurement and sales part. I have been working in PIM as well for creating the product master. So I do have like a good exposure of how to set up basics. For the deep things, I might need little bit help on that part, or I might need a little bit more work on that part. But for the basics, I do have the exposure from last 1.5 years. I've been doing it on daily basis as well. So yeah, that could be something that I can use in my health. Yeah. Yeah, few things like first of all, is there will be another round for this, or this is the only round, that technical round that I have to face? Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, great. That's all. For now, I think rest I can check later if selected in this round. So let's see. Hope for the best. Yeah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's good time talking to you. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great day.